My wife and I have started keeping stingless bees, known as kelulut in Malay, native bees in Australia, and probably dozens of other names around the world. We've only got a few hives, but I already would like to have an app to track how each of them are doing because, well, spreadsheets suck for this. I built the first part, a program that generates unique hive labels complete with a mobile app scannable QR code. So that QR code is for an app that I still have to make. But I've got the labels. This took me about a day. Here's how I did it. The goal is a program that will generate print-ready PDFs with unique labels for each hive. So each label will have a unique hive ID printed in text down the bottom, and then a QR code up the top. I've settled for the following label template. So we'll have a location, that's the location KB, code is the KB there, and then you've got the group ID, and then a unique hive ID within that group or cluster. And this maps into a simple GUI with the hive location field, the group cluster, and then controls to set the start number of the first hive in the cluster that you want to, or group that you want to create a label for, and the number of hives that you want to print labels for. On the right-hand side, I had planned a preview pane that would show a print preview of the PDF. And that was a mistake, which I'll get into later. The app also has controls down the bottom to set the paper size and also the size of the actual labels. So that's the design done. Now I need libraries to handle each part of the program. I'm not going to write all of this from scratch. So I'm going to use the Raylib plus ImGui starter template that I've created previously for the user interface. I've already got that ready to go, which makes sense for me to use it. So that leaves two things that I need. I need code to generate a QR code, and I need a library to generate PDFs. So after searching the internet for a little bit with the help of ChatGPT, I settled on two small and easy to use libraries. The first one is Nayuki's QR code generator. I settled on libharu, which is a lightweight PDF generation library. Some might find that a bit feature limited, but for this project, simplicity is exactly what I need. The first step was to create a new project from my ImGui plus Raylib template, and then add the QR code generator and libharu libraries. So this is the CMake build script for pulling in the QR code generator. As you can see, it pulls it straight in from GitHub. It took a little bit of experimentation because this one doesn't have a CMake script, but relatively easy. And here is the equivalent for libharu. So it looks very similar. Just need to make sure that my code can see this library's code, this library's header files. And with that done, I started writing code. So I started adding GUI controls until eventually I had a nice looking but non-functional app. My original design had a PDF preview pane so that you can see what the printable PDF would look like. And after wasting some time trying to make that by creating a pluggable render class so I could write code to generate the labels once and either output it to the preview or the PDF, I realized that was a mistake. This is supposed to be an MVP, or minimum viable product. Accent on minimum. The preview pane is nice, but it's completely unnecessary in order to print these. This is the core purpose. This is the goal. And I was wasting valuable time and guaranteeing that this project would go over time. So I deleted the pluggable render code and the preview pane, and I focused on printing or drawing directly to the PDF via the libharu library. Speaking of which, here's the code that does that. I found libharu is relatively easy to use. So you create a PDF document, which is brought into this function here. Up the top here, you can see I'm figuring out what's the best orientation to print the most number of labels onto the page. And then we create a new page, set the font size for the printable label down the bottom there, and then print each label to that page. And then once one page is full, then we add another page, which is HPDF add page. And here is the actual drawing code. So first we draw a border, and this is done in two steps. First you define a rectangle, and then you say, I want to draw a stroke, they call it. That's pretty common in drawing programs, it's a stroke. So you're not filling the rectangle, you're just drawing an outline. And then the next step is to draw the QR code, and then down the bottom, we calculate where to put this text label, and then we print that text into a rectangle. You don't draw a rectangle, but I mean in a rectangular area, that's where the text goes. The QR code is here, and here's how it works. So first, if somebody scans this outside my app, I want them to be sent to a web page about the app, so they know what it is. So I take the label, this code here, I add my URL in front of it, and add this at the end after the hash. So the reason for doing that is then when somebody scans it outside the app, as I said, they'll go to that web page. The label gets put after the hash because web browsers do not send that end piece after the hash to the web server. I don't want to know, and I don't need to know, I don't want to know what labels people are printing. So that's just for people's privacy. From there, the QR code generator will encode this into a QR code, and then it's my responsibility to take that QR code, which is basically a set of little cells, pixels or modules, and to print that or draw that to the page. So that's exactly what this does. Again, we say, here's a rectangle of where one of these black bits is, and this time instead of stroke, we do HPDF page fill to fill that rectangle. We just cycle through all of the little cells or modules where it needs to be drawn and draw that to the PDF. And then that's done. And the final step was to open the PDF in a PDF reader. And that code is over here. And you'll notice that for each supported platform, I need a new version, open file and default viewer. So for Windows, there's a version here. That's because there's no cross-platform way to do this. So each supported platform needs its own version of this function. Annoying, but that's just part and parcel of writing multi-platform software. And that's the app done. I've got my printed labels ready to put onto my Stingless beehives. Not bad for an MVP, and it only took a day, thanks to me ditching the unnecessary preview pane. If I'd included that one, it probably would have taken me longer. The bit that I dislike the most is the printing and lamination process. Like printing to regular paper, then cutting it, and then laminating individual labels is a bit tedious. I'd love to print directly to weatherproof labels. There are printers that can do that. However, for now, this is good enough to get me started. Plus, these QR codes need to be read by an app that doesn't exist yet. So I've got work to do. I'll tell you more about that in a future video, which should appear over here. If it isn't there, then subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.